It all started on the worst night of my life. Rain was pouring down in full thunderstorm mode when I went outside to take out the trash. As I got closer to the cans, I heard this tiny whimper coming from behind them. I checked, and there it was. A soaking wet baby Growlithe, shivering, barely moving, with a deep gash on its front leg. I didn't think twice. I scooped it up, wrapped it in my jacket, and ran inside. I spent the whole night cleaning the wound, keeping it warm, and making sure it stayed alive. Around 3 in the morning, my mom walked in and found me sitting on the floor with a fire Pokemon bundled in a blanket. She was furious. But by morning, when it opened its eyes and looked straight at me, I knew this little Growlithe was mine. The first few days were rough. It could barely walk, so I kept it fed, warm, and stayed by its side constantly. Every time I entered the room, its tail would wag. Just a tiny flick at first, but a little stronger every day. That's when I knew it was starting to trust me. Once it could move on its own, I built a proper setup in the backyard. A wooden pen, a heat lamp, and a small den made of logs. The moment I set it down, it looked around, let out a happy huff, then walked over and pressed its head against my leg like it was saying thank you. Feeding time became the best part of my day. I'd bring out steak, fruit, chips, whatever I could get, and sit beside it while it ate. Eventually, it refused to eat unless I was right there with it. As its strength returned, the energy came back fast. One afternoon, it spotted a wild Spearow perched on the fence. My Growlithe froze, locked eyes, pure hunter instinct kicking in. I crouched beside it and whispered, "Go." It exploded forward, ended the fight in seconds, then ran back to me tail going wild, licking my face like crazy. That was when I knew it was special. Over the next few weeks, it grew stronger and more confident every day. I started real training with targets in the backyard. The first time it hit one with a burst of heat, I actually screamed. From then on, we trained every morning together. Eventually, the backyard wasn't enough. I took it into the woods to face real opponents. We ran into an aggressive Mankey that gave my Growlithe a serious fight. I watched nervously from behind a tree until something changed. My Growlithe went low, stayed silent, and waited. Then it struck perfectly. Deeper in the woods, we fought a Geodude blocking the path and an Oddish hiding in tall grass. Every battle sharpened it. Then everything changed. We were heading back when a massive crashing sound echoed through the forest. Trees snapped as a huge wild Arcanine burst out, furious, smoke rolling off its body. I grabbed my Growlithe and backed away, but it was too late. My Growlithe stepped in front of me. It was shaking, terrified, but it didn't move. Then something snapped. Smoke thickened along its back, its body began to glow, and in a blinding flash, it evolved right there. Now towering, with a flowing mane and overwhelming presence, my Arcanine faced the wild one and released a deep growl I felt in my chest. The wild Arcanine backed away and vanished into the trees. Mine turned to me with calm eyes like nothing happened. I placed my hand on its face and it leaned into me. I almost cried. Getting it home was ridiculous. It was basically horse-sized and barely fit through the back door. My mom's expression when it walked into the kitchen was unforgettable. We built a bigger setup outside, but it didn't care. It just wanted to stay near me. Wherever I went, it followed. But my Arcanine wasn't meant to sit still. One morning, I found the backyard gate wide open, scorch marks leading toward the trail. I grabbed my shoes and followed. I found it waiting at the edge of the woods like it knew I'd come. It looked at me, then into the forest, silently inviting me. We went deeper than ever before. The trees grew taller, the light darker, but my Arcanine stayed calm, confident. We emerged into a massive clearing. On the other side stood wild Pokemon, a Primeape, Machop, Hitmonchan, and another Growlithe. My Arcanine walked to the center and sat down. The air was tense. They attacked one by one. Primeape fell fast. Machop followed. Hitmonchan fought hard but went down too. I stood frozen, watching something unreal. Then the other Growlithe stepped forward. It was fast, smart, relentless. They clashed longer than any fight before. Finally, my Arcanine released a thunderous roar. The other Growlithe stopped and sat down. It was over. My Arcanine returned to me, calm as ever. I rested my hand on its warm fur as it rumbled softly. We walked home at sunset, side by side. Not ahead, not behind, right beside me. That's when I realized it wasn't just my Pokemon, it was my best friend. And everything that started on that rainy night became the best thing that ever happened to me.